what is the tangible use case for artificial intelligence within my organization? You can be the best organization in the world, but people work for people. So anything that we can do to help remove some of that stress, using tools, using artificial intelligence at the desktop, makes that agent experience slightly better.
It's been a while and we're back at the Irish Pod. We're here at the Call and Contact Center Expo 2023 and we're recording this very special podcast series all about the CX trends to look out for as we go into 2024. And I'm delighted to be joined today by Simon Broadbent.
Thank you. Good to be here.
VP EMEA for NICE.
Correct.
Tell us a little bit about that, Simon. Good to see you again, by the way.
Yeah, you too. So, 7 months into the role now, having spent 20 years in the contact industry. So it's interesting. I did the keynote, as you know, earlier on today, and looking out into the audience, I think I've probably sold to a third of them, are currently trying to sell to a third of them, and worked with the other third in the audience. So it's like coming home. These events are always full of the same people. But I look after our enterprise business across EMEA. Enterprise for NICE is anything over 500 seats, which is kind of the top end of town, and full suite. So everything from financial compliance all the way through to the really exciting, sexy Gen AI stuff that we're bringing to market at the moment.
And that's the topic I think we'll delve into most today is AI, and it seems like everybody here is doing something with AI. There's various flavors of it, and we've added a G into AGI now, and I kind of sometimes wonder whether we're just putting labels on things without truly understanding what's under the hood. So what's your sense on where we're at with AI for contact center and CX?
I think certainly for the first 6 months, it was the emperor's new clothes, right?
Yes.
Everybody was jumping on the AI bandwagon. I think organizations felt that if they didn't have some kind of AI capability in portfolio, they were going to get left behind. They weren't going to be taken seriously. I think consumers were being pushed by market forces to try and find a way of fitting AI into their business model. And I don't think anybody really succeeded, if I'm honest with you. We saw a lot of organizations scale up very, very quickly. They took on board investment from PE, which hasn't worked out for a lot of them. But I think for a long time, people were really struggling to understand what is the tangible use case for artificial intelligence within my organization. And I think once they understood where AI could potentially impact the business from a positive perspective, it opened a whole can of worms, right? Because still some people started to get a little bit scared about, what about my brand? I've spent all this time, and energy building brand value. Why would I let AI suddenly loose on my customers, creating content, answering questions that might not be within the brand guidelines? So I think we're kind of at that point now where the market has settled down a little bit. People are starting to be a little bit more focused on the AI solution sets that they're taking. So real use cases, real value proposition, fixing real problems. We are now understanding how we put guardrails around the data to make sure that we're protecting the brand. But, it's phenomenal to see how quickly AI has gone from being, something that Elon Musk and his mates were talking about, 10 years ago in a cupboard, to now, my mum understands what AI is. ChatGPT has done more for the democratization of AI than the marketing ever could do, right?
Yeah.
I think for the first 10 years of my career, my mum thought I sold mobile phones. But she now kind of gets what AI is, and it's accessible.
Yeah, it was quite an interesting few weeks for that company. I mean, what a crazy roller coaster that was, and you kind of see, in a way, maybe everyone's trying to scamper to get their slice of the pie, right? And they had a pretty big slice of the mind share, certainly out there, and maybe some people had different visions for where that company could go.
Yeah, look, they were first to market, and in our game, being first to market with a product that works, is key. And they were first to market. They launched at a really, really strategic time. I think obviously they knew that Bard and the other platforms were about to launch, and got in there first. Sam Altman's did an amazing job, right? And he's loved by his people. And if that scenario that we saw unfolding over the last 2 weeks tells us nothing, people work for people, and the fact
100%.
that the 95% of his workforce signed a petition and said they'd leave if he wasn't reinstated by the board just tells you that you can be the best organisation in the world, but people work for people.
Yeah, and actually, probably quite an interesting parallel to AI and it being perceived by many as being degradation of humanity and potentially incredibly scary and potentially kind of world-ending.
Yeah.
And there's, maybe limited, I don't know, regulation around it. What do you think on the flip side of the things, the warning signs to look out for?
Yeah. Look, I think anything left unchecked or without guidance, regulation, or guardrails has the propensity to be bad. AI is no different. At the end of the day, AI is just an algorithm, right? It's just a series of algorithms. Without the data, it does nothing. Yeah. We're seeing and predicting that AI in the future will start to form its own communities, so they'll start to communicate. That's a little bit scary. When you've got an AI entity reaching out to another AI entity and sharing information.
Skynet.
Yeah, but well, listen. What we're seeing now, was predicted years and years ago in the movies, right?
100%.
But I think the difference now compared to where we were 18 months ago is that we understand the need to put these guardrails around it. Will it become regulated? I hope not, because then it kind of takes the power of AI and Gen AI and puts it in the hands of the regulators, and that gives them a lot more power than they maybe should have. But we need to use it cautiously. It's not just something we can just throw into an organisation or an enterprise and let it run riot.
Yeah.
But I think no one really truly understands where it's going to go, and that's kind of the scary thing. It's interesting that you get people like Elon Musk, who's benefited significantly from tech investments, and I put him up there with some of the best of the tech savants pushing against it instead of actually trying to monetize it. That tells me something.
Quite interesting, that, isn't it? And maybe he's a master of taking. I mean, he's a genius. He's a genius, but he's kind of built businesses off of someone else's idea, actually, in many instances.
And 100 million loan from his dad.
And 100 million note from his dad, which helps. And maybe he'll jump on it when he sees the niche that it will.
Maybe he's got a master plan which is creating all this fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and then he's going to come in and be the knight on the white horse that saves everybody from the perils of AI, right? And then make a shitload of money out of it.
Yeah.
Watch this space. It wouldn't surprise me. He will have a plan.
In terms of, it's kind of interesting to then lead into value, and sometimes I wonder whether. Like you said, the emperor's new clothes. There's always something that's the next big thing. But where's the actual value? What's the actual value to businesses and their customers in this space, this event right here? How does AI help me as a customer of a big brand?
Yeah, so in many, many ways. And you can talk about the cost out, revenue up implications of using AI to be more efficient, to allow you to do the same with less or more with the same. But where we really see it adding value is when we start to look at specific use cases that both benefit the brand, brand and the customer. So if you look at something like customer vulnerability, right? Okay, we have enlightened models. Not plugging or selling, but we have a series of enlightened models that we have built using AI from billions and billions of interactions, CX-specific interactions. And I talked today about the fact that AI needs to be purpose-built for CX. It can't just be built from information that's publicly available on the internet.
Yeah.
So we have all this data that we've been collecting over the last 20 years. We started off as an interaction capture business, as you know. So if you think about the ability to create models that real time will predict and alert when a conversation between an advisor and an end customer meets certain thresholds and characteristics that would determine that customer is vulnerable, and then treat them in a different way completely, I think is a real, plus point. We can look at using AI to, summarize the call at the end of a conversation with an advisor or an agent, and automatically populate that into a system of record, a CRM platform, which saves 3 or 4 minutes of wrap-up time at the end of every call, meaning that either the agents get more rest, more break time between calls, or depending on how they're driven, they get to answer more calls in a day. But there's lots of practical applications. We've got out of the box over 200 enlightened models to fix specific business use cases using AI. But I think some of the more interesting ones are things like fraud detection, market manipulation, scammers. It's a huge thing. There's so many different scams going out there now across every different type of media, whether it be voice, mobile, email, SMS. There's always somebody trying to phish and scam you. Using AI to really start to delve into the root cause of those communications and try and fix that, I think is a real positive as well.
Yeah, I got one this morning. Yeah. I woke up to a message. It said, "Hello, Mum. My screen's gone from dropping my phone, Mum. Please text me on my new number when you get this."
Yeah.
I think they've messaged the wrong person.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure. And then the next thing will be, I need £100 to get it fixed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might lead them on for a while. I might message them and just play a little bit of a game with them for a while. No, you're right. I think it's quite interesting that you picked up on the vulnerable customer, but then also on the agent side, give time back,
100%.
Make their job more efficient, reduce the number of repetitive tasks, make the agent experience great.
Exactly, and that's kind of like the other side of the coin, right? So we often talk about AI benefiting and impacting the consumer, either by making that interaction better, more efficient, more enriched with data. But we're also using it to make the agent life more experienced. So if you think about the consumers today, they're better researched than ever before. By the time they call in the contact center, usually it's because they've got a problem. And secondly, they probably know as much about your product as you do, because they've gone online, they've gone on the various different communities, they've researched it, etc., etc. So agents have got to be super agents these days. They can't just be, just standard scripted agent. So using AI to be able to, again, listen to the call and prompt the agent real time with next best actions, or guiding them to pieces of information based on not what they're hearing, but what the AI thinks it's going to hear next based on all these other different conversational flows, and making sure that agent experience is as stress-free and as efficient as possible is really important as well, because organizations, particularly contact center and BPO organizations, their biggest challenge is churn, agent churn. They bring agents in, they spend a lot of money getting them up to speed in the first 8 weeks of their career, and it's a really, really stressful job. So anything that we can do to help remove some of that stress, using tools, using artificial intelligence at the desktop, using robots on the desktop to help form fill or predict which forms are going to fill in next, makes that agent experience slightly better. And if that sends them home happier, gives them more satisfaction in their job, keeps them in the job for longer with that employee, then it's a great thing.
Happy agents, happy customers, right?
Well, exactly. And again, EE tomorrow, Matt's talking about, can you have ESAT without CSAT? I don't think you can.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's crucial, and something that we bang on about a lot. That before you could ever have a happy customer, your agent is the last line of defense of your brand.
They
really.
They are. And it's also you're at your most vulnerable when you speak to an agent, right? From a brand perspective, because I don't know that you haven't been out with your mates that night before and had a few too many and got up late for work, kicked the dog, and came in and you're in a foul mood, right? But we entrust our brand with agents, and agents are human beings at the end of the day, and they're subject to all the pressures that we get subjected to. So anything that we can help them do to make their work experience better, their customers' experience better, impacts NPS, impacts CSAT, impacts ESAT.
I think it's good that we're talking a lot about the agent, because I think in a conversation about AI, because a lot of the perception around AI is that it's taking people's jobs away. It's automating, it's making people have information and resolution of problems at their fingertips without ever speaking to somebody. But, you know, in our keynote in this session today is around the premiumization of voice.
Yeah.
Actually, where does voice sit in amongst AI? Still going, still
Yeah,
growing?
no, I wouldn't suggest that it will continue to grow. I think you will see AI and self-service capability continue to increase. Yeah. Will it take jobs? It's difficult to predict. I think agents will be repurposed across businesses, but you only need to try phone any contact center in the world and wait for 20 minutes before you get answered to realize that we've actually got more calls than we have agents at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, the quick win for a lot of organizations is taking away that 20-minute wait time and actually having those customers transacting and self-serving digitally using AI. But to your point, I think voice will become a premium. I think, you know, when you finally get through to an agent, you know, they will be expected to be a single, you know, one-stop shop for any problem that you have. And again, that's where you're really going to need to make sure those agents are super agents. They have access to every single bit of information and can handle every single query. Because if you've gone through a self-service journey and still ended up speaking to an agent, you know, you need to make sure that you've got a resolution to your problem.
Yeah, absolutely. So some rapid fire stuff for 2024. What's your kind of new technology to look out for in 2024, AI or otherwise?
No, so what's our new technology? So AI, but using AI to augment outbound. So we bought a company called Livebox. We're just going through the merger of the two organizations, which will be closed by the end of the year. But you know, we talk a lot about using AI for inbound, but using AI to augment outbound capability as well. So that's going to be a really, really big push. We touched on auto summary, but you know, looking at a series of efficiency tools to remove some of that mundane day-to-day tasks that agents are doing at the end of every call is going to be big for us, and that's a really, really quick win, right? It's a really quick win, and it's cross-platform. It's not just on a nice platform. We can deliver it onto any single platform. So if you're a Genesis customer and a Avaya customer, whatever, we can do it. So that kind of opens the market up for us. We do some really, really cool stuff around being able to predict which customer journeys are most likely to be served by a self-serve route. So looking at almost billions of interactions and working out which of them are, you know, scored highest to be able to self-serve and create that self-serve route for them. That's really exciting. But also, I think, you know, moving away from the AI stuff, we're going to have our best quarter ever this quarter, and that quarter is being driven by selling CCaaS into large-scale enterprise customers, which, you know, we've come from certainly outside of the UK, a mid-market commercial space, but our focus for 24 is, you know, really going after those big enterprise contact centers that are now looking to move from legacy on-prem technology into the cloud, and that there isn't anybody with the depth and breadth of portfolio that NICE is out. So that's really exciting, getting into that space as well.
Excellent. Biggest left field prediction for 2024, kind of David Cameron re-entering frontline politics level of left field.
Who saw that coming?
Or right field, based on...
Yeah, who saw that coming? I think you'll see some more consolidation. I think you'll see some of the big players that maybe aren't here exhibiting as we'd expect them to be, looking to sell or IPO. Genesis. I think
we might have to blank that bit out of the podcast.
I think you'll see consolidation. I think you'll see a couple of the really, really big brands either get sold or IPO this year, or next year, should I say. I think you'll see a lot of AI companies probably disappear from our vision. You know, there's a number of guys out there that are really, really struggling, and you can never you know, turn your back on Microsoft, right? You know, I think they're really starting to build a strong business around AI and Copilot and everything else that sits around that. So yeah, watch the space for more Microsoft action in the CX arena.
Yeah. Well, we hope the voice isolation will be one of the AIs to watch in 2024.
It will be, right, and one of the reasons we're having this conversation is because of the partnership that we're entering into, right, and I'm really excited about where that goes. I think there's some very, very exciting practical applications of using that technology, not just in the contact center world, but then in the analytics world as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Simon, let's wrap up with a hidden known fact about you. That people may or may not know about Simon Broadbent.
I grew up in Nigeria.
You grew up in Nigeria. That is left field.
That is left field. That is left field. I was on the one of the last planes out of Lagos Airport when the coup happened in 1977. So,
My gosh.
there we go.
That is.
There you go. I don't speak Nigerian.
We have a couple of clients over there.
Yeah. We've got a couple of clients over there as well. You can have our clients over there
Excellent.
if you want them.
Yeah. We'll compare notes. Simon, thanks so much for joining us.
You're very welcome.
Really appreciate you taking the time, and good luck for the rest of this show.
Thank you. You
and
too.
We'll stay close in 2024. All right. Thanks. Thanks everyone for tuning in to the Iris Pod, this CX24 prediction series. We'll have more guests coming up. Speak to you soon.